name is Lisa Slauson from the Sutterville Elementary PTA. I'm the program chair, and in partnership with the Sutterville PTA and the Kaiser Behavioral Health Unit, we have Sierra Craney here with us today. She was with us back in December discussing sitting like a frog, mindfulness, and proper breathing, and just how to get through tough times in this world right now, which is improving. So that's a good thing. Sierra, I'm going to give you the floor, and today you're going to talk to us geared toward 4th through 6th graders, correct?
Believe so, yeah.
Self-compassion, which is always something that we need to have. So with that, I'm going to give you the floor, and thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I am very excited to be back here. I enjoyed being here last time, and so can everyone see my screen right now?
I see you.
Hold on. All right. Is that working?
I still see you.
That's interesting. It says it's sharing my screen.
I see self-compassion.
Oh.
Yeah, I see your slides. Okay, let's see.
Oh,
Maybe
okay,
it's me then.
So today I designed these slides to make it a little bit easier when I'll email them to Lisa, and so like if anybody wants to look at them, the exercises are going to be directly on there. So it will be a little bit easier just to kind of look back on it if you wanted to go over a skill again. So, all right, let's get started with self-compassion. Well, someone's trying to come in. All right. Let me move this over so I can actually see my stuff. I like seeing everybody's faces. It's pretty cool. All right. Again, my name is Sierra Craney. I'm what we're called an associate marriage family therapist. What that means that right now I'm currently working to get my full license as a therapist. So I am being supervised by a licensed marriage family therapist who by the name of Kate Van Pars. And what she does, she just looks over my stuff, just making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So given my background, I have worked with children, adolescents, more in like a private practice therapy setting. And I also currently work with adults in adult outpatient psychiatry. So I do the normal, typical therapy that you would see on TV. I also work in something called intensive outpatients for adults here at Kaiser. And, that's just when people are having a harder time of what's going on. And we just do a little bit more work with them and, support them better. Okay, so let's get started. All right, what is self-compassion really? There are many different parts about self-compassion, and kind of the interesting thing is that if you really think about it, we don't really give ourselves very much compassion or give ourselves that much of a break. We tend to be harder on ourselves. And we tend to be our biggest critic is probably the best way of saying that. And so there are different parts about self-compassion that we can tap into, just to give ourselves that love that we deserve. One is mindfulness, and we'll go over mindfulness. And that really involves just recognizing when we're stressed out. Self-kindness, just being supportive for ourselves, understanding, sorry, this thing is bothering me, understanding to ourselves that if we're having a hard time, and connection. Remembering that we all make mistakes. We're all going through we're all going through something pretty hard right now. Like, I don't know about any of you. This is the first time I've ever been through a global pandemic. Like, I don't generally know what to do for a global pandemic. I don't think anybody really does. We're figuring it out along the way. So we do have that shared connection. And this one is like, what kind of creates self-compassion in general? So the self-kindness, treating ourselves like we would treat a good friend. And that's something we can really sit with for a second. How do we talk to a good friend of ours? How do we talk to someone that we really care about? Do we lift them up and say good things to them? Yeah, we say good things to our friends. Say, hey, you're doing a great job. Hey, you're being awesome right now. Or, hey, I love you. You're a cool person. And I'm happy that you're in my life. Now, the opposite of self-kindness is when we kind of, judge ourselves, when we're not so kind to ourselves. When that happens, well, I want us to really just take a look and say, how do we talk to ourselves? How do we really talk to ourselves? We're a lot harder on ourselves. Like, oh, I'm not doing very well right now. I'm not being good at the moment. I should have done that differently. Or I'm not, what's the other one? It can even be harder things. Like, I'm not a good friend, or I'm a bad person. And I think we all tend to do that in general. And we want to stop for a second and say to ourselves, like, would I ever talk like that to my friends, to my good friends? No, I really wouldn't. So today what we're going to do is I have a few exercises that we can, reverse that and start talking to ourselves like we would talk to a good friend. Another part about self-compassion is just us being a human being, like being a good human. We're all sharing this experience and feelings of this distant learning, I would imagine right now, distance teaching. We're all sharing that experience and feelings around this global pandemic. Just, this like crazy stuff that's happening, this weirdness that's going on in the world. We're all feeling that. We're all sharing that together. Now, when we have these feelings, sometimes we can feel that we are still judging ourselves of, oh, even though we're going through all this, I gotta make sure I don't mess up, or I did mess up, and that can kind of make us feel like, we're alone, feeling alone with that, like nobody else is feeling that, which can make us just feel that we're the only one with those feelings. When really that's not the case. Everybody has these feelings. It's something we just got to think about. And the last part that creates self-compassion is that mindfulness, what I was alluding to earlier. Mindfulness is accepting kind of what's happening, being aware of what's happening, and not letting those events, just identify who we are. So why practice self-compassion? There's so many reasons why we want to do this. And in the past decade, there has just been so much research, just so many people looking at self-compassion or, a self-love, saying, hey, this is a pretty cool thing. This is a pretty neat thing that we can start looking into. And what they're finding is that when we have more self-compassion, more self-love, people tend to be happier. And we tend to have happier relationships, like friendships. We tend to feel less stressed out. And it helps relieve those harder feelings for us overall. It helps us, be stronger with how we handle our feelings, how we work with our feelings. And we're able to learn from our mistakes a little bit more. Okay, why is my, there we go. So self-compassion has also been shown to have a better health, better physical health, make our bodies feel better. So sometimes when we get those really nervous feelings, like anxiety, those nervous feelings, self-compassion can help make those feelings just go down. And it also can make the feelings of us being calm, happy, it makes those feelings go up. And because of that, it helps our body fight away the stress, the heavy feelings that we can have at times. It also can make us sleep better, which is #1 in my book. And it can even help our body, fight colds or fight headaches. So there's a lot of really cool things that we can do with tapping into self-compassion and our self-love. All right, so let's get into the skills of self-compassion. So this is one skill that I call listening with your heart. So there are some days that are gonna just feel stinky or they smell stinky. And we can have a lot of heavy feelings that can go with that. So when this happens, we can just take a moment, take a few breaths in. We want to practice listening to our hearts. So you can join me if you want. You can put your hands over your heart. I don't know if everyone can see me like this. Just take a few deep breaths in. And what we want to do right now is just be in a very calm place, or as calm as we can be. And we want to practice just listening in and trying to name maybe the feeling that we're having right now. It could be feeling sad. It could be feeling happy. It could be feeling mad. It could be feeling scared. And just whatever we feel, know that it's okay. It's okay to have that feeling. And then we want to start listening to our body to see maybe if our body is having some feelings. Is our tummy not feeling so good right now? Or our legs just going back and forth, we wiggling in one place. What's our body doing? So we want to listen to that. Be like, okay, my tummy's not feeling good. Why is my tummy not feeling good? Or I'm wiggling in one place. Why am I wiggling so much in one place? And then you want to pay attention to what we're telling ourselves. Like, all right, I'm feeling sad. And so Why am I feeling sad? Pay attention to the words that we're also telling ourselves. Are we being supportive? Are we saying nice things to ourselves? Are we saying mean things to ourselves? Are you being a good friend to yourself? When we pay attention to that, that's when we're able to change things. So if we're not saying nice things to ourselves, if our heart is not saying nice things, then we can go, okay, what would I say to a friend? Hey friend, you're doing a great job. You're being awesome. You're a really good person. And I'm happy to have you as my friend. We can say those kind of things to ourselves. So I know I'm doing like a very quick version of these, but this is one of my favorite ones because it helps tap us into not only our mind, but also our body, because our mind and our body are connected. Excuse me. All right. This one's kind of a, let's see, I think I have like two parts that are to this. So dealing with like these negative thoughts or these, thoughts that just are not being nice to us at the moment. So when a critical or not so nice thought, pops up, just be like, hey, I'm noticing it. Why are you there? Like, that's what I want to ask him. Like, why is that thought there? Like the example on here going, I'm no good at anything. That's not a very nice thought. So that pops up. And then we want to ask ourselves, wait a minute, is that really true? Am I no good at everything? I don't think that's true. What if the opposite of that were true? The reverse of that. What if I'm really good at a lot of stuff instead? It's like I'm really good at soccer, really good at art. Excuse me. Get a drink of water here. So we're gonna go back. I'm really good at soccer. I'm really good at art. I'm a really nice person. You can list a whole bunch of things. And I believe that that's more true because it is. That's a lot more true. So that's one way of working with that. And this kind of ties into the next part because if you have a pen and paper with you, cool. If not, don't worry about it. You can just come along with the exercise. And so we're going to be doing just a quick, I'm also getting like people who are coming in. We're going to do like a quick exercise to see how we can like change our thought for the better. And this one here is just saying how we can have more self-compassion when we're trying to write things down. So we'll go through a little bit more about this like towards the end when we talk about like things that we can do to take care of us. In fact, I'll probably come back to this page then. I think that'll be more appropriate. So, whoops. Okay. So changing the language, changing the way that, our brain's been talking with us. So you can write down your own example if you want. I just put one up here of the language my brain tends to give me is I'm complaining too much about this project, or I complain a lot. And that's not really very nice of me to say that about myself. So how do I change that? It's really important to know when that thought comes up. In fact, actually, let me back up. I'm going to slow down just in case people are writing. So write down maybe an example of something you may not be saying that's so nice to yourself, that your brain's not being nice to you. Like I'm mean, or like I'm a bad friend, or whatever the case is. So I'll give that about another minute. Okay. So when we have maybe that certain thought, it's important to know, when does that thought show up? When do those, not so helpful thoughts tend to show up? So for this particular person saying, I'm complaining too much about this project, I complain a lot. Maybe it shows up when they're feeling just so overwhelmed, or they have a lot they got to do, a lot of homework, or, oh my goodness, what? And maybe that's when that happens for them. And it's also important to know is, what are things that I say when I have this thought? When you have this thought, are there statements that or things you tell yourself? Like, oh my gosh, I'm so overwhelmed right now. I can't do this. This is too hard for me. This is a lot for me to handle. Okay. So take about just a little bit, see if anyone's writing down. Like when the thought shows up, and maybe things that we say to ourselves when we have those thoughts. So I have my little whiteboard with me right here. I'll be writing some stuff down too myself through these exercises. Okay. I see someone's in a TV set. That's pretty cool. All right. So how do we change this? How can we make this be more true? How do we change the language? So for this person, they can sit there and go, okay, maybe I really don't complain a lot. Maybe I'm just trying to express how I feel, and this is my way of expressing that. This is my way of expressing the way I'm coping with really hard emotions and really hard feelings. And on top of that, knowing that, okay, this is our way of actually expressing our feelings. Maybe give ourselves a little empathy, a little love and kindness there. Like this is really hard. I bet many people in my class are also feeling like this. We're going through something very tough right now. I'm going through something very tough right now. it's okay to give myself a break. I'm doing the best I can given what's happening. And that's okay. So giving a little bit more time for people who could be writing. All right. And the last thing we want to add to that is, you know, just like giving ourselves like a hug of some sort. It could be a hug. It's like, okay, yes, I can do this. We can hold our hands. It could be gently like that, gently, excuse me. Another one that, this is my personal favorite, you can hold our face, just gently. And just feel that love. Feel that self-compassion. Just know you're doing well. You're doing the best you can. And so for everyone, that type of touch is different. What the touch does is that it helps actually, like, if you want to go with how the mind and body works, it helps like regulate our emotions. Sometimes our emotions can be like that, just really up and down, really up and down. When we give ourselves a hug, or when we get a hug from someone that we really care about, it helps our emotions not be so wiggly. Now, there's some myths about self-compassion. I did get this one from a website, and I'll have to explain some of it. But like, people can say, oh, if you're just so self-compassionate about yourself, it's just you're feeling so sorry for yourself. So when we're able to actually acknowledge our feelings and even our like accept our really hard feelings, we're actually able to move past them a lot faster. We're able to move forward with those. This is the part I do need to explain. Like, self-compassion is just being like completely all about you. Like, it's all about me, no one else. Like, that's not what self-compassion is. It's actually shown that self-compassion can really help with us, and help not only like with feeling our feelings, but also we can even help others too with their feelings and help them maybe go through a hard time. One of my favorite things I like to suggest to my patients is if they're not feeling good or they're feeling pretty down, is to do some volunteer work. Now, I know right now with everything going on, that's a lot harder to do. And if you don't feel safe doing that, you don't have to. However, like, some people help out the homeless. Some people go to food banks, you know, prior to all this. And maybe there are other ways we can help other people during that time and show compassion towards them. And so, yeah, that kind of goes with the next one, like self-compassion is selfish. All right, I don't know if anybody's ever watched this cartoon. It was Steven Universe, I think it was. He had a saying about like, self-care or self-compassion is not selfish. And it's the whole thing, we got to take care of ourselves first and show ourselves compassion first. And be able to show that how much we care about ourselves, it makes ourselves feel better overall. So we're able to share those good feelings with other people. Okay. So another one, when we talked about mindfulness earlier, is how to practice mindful self-compassion. So just sit comfortably. We sit and stop and take a few deep breaths again. You can put your hand over your heart if you wanted to. You could put them on your legs, on your chair, whatever you feel comfortable with. Take a few more deep breaths. Just trying to make our brain feel a little bit calmer. So when we're in a calm state after a few deep breaths, it could be a minute of doing that, could be 5 minutes doing that, could be 30 seconds. We can acknowledge maybe the painful emotion that we're feeling. I'll give a different example than what I have on here. Is like that person didn't want to be my friend anymore, or that they don't want to be my friend. And that hurts. I want them to be my friend. They seem really nice. And then you can choose something to say to yourself that's out of kindness. I have some examples here. However, you can always come up with your own example, your own phrase of compassion. Like, I may be kind to myself. I can give myself the love and support that I need. I can accept myself exactly who I am. I forgive myself. May I be strong. May I be patient. May I be friendly. May I be kind. And the next part is going about the rest of your day, remembering to treat yourself gently, to say that it's okay. And how do we treat ourselves gently? So this is one of my favorite parts in any therapy session that I do, is helping people find ways that they can show themselves love, they can show themselves kindness. And that can actually come in so many different ways. That's the really neat part about this. The biggest thing that I would say overall, like there's different categories that we can look at this, different ways we can look at this. So the easiest one is, okay, how can I show myself love and kindness? What are things that I love to do, that I enjoy doing for myself? Excuse me. For me, I personally love drawing. I love art. I genuinely enjoy doing that stuff. Whether if I'm any good at it, but that's a whole different story. Either way, I enjoy it. And that's a way to show myself love and kindness, is that I do something that I love and I enjoy. And so if I encourage this even after today's meeting, is, talk to yourself about things that you can do for you. Write a list down, things that you love to do. If it's to play a game, if it's to play a sport, if it's to draw, to color, to cook, whatever brings you happiness. I would write that down as part of your list of things that you can show love and kindness to yourself. The other one is, and it goes along with enjoyment, is self-care. If you want to learn a lot more about self-care, you can go on the internet, you can find a whole bunch of things that you can do that is self-care to you. And the reason why this is so important is you want to show yourself that you are worth it, because you are worth it. It's like you're worth it, that you're going to take time out of your day to feel good about you. And self-care can come in many, many, many different ways. It can come into those activities that you enjoy. It can be writing a letter to a friend, calling a friend. It can be, if you're into like certain play, it can be watching a TV show that you like. It could be reading a book that you like. Just things that you genuinely are relaxed with, or calm with, and just that brings you happiness and joy. Then, mindfulness. Mindfulness is there's different ways that we can do mindfulness. And if you were with me about a month and a half ago, talking about like sitting still like a frog and being able to concentrate on our frog breathing. That's us being able to stay with, being able to think about the here and now, not about what could happen, not about what did happen, but just think about right now and just concentrate on the things that are happening now. So there are many, many different ways you can show that to yourself too. So I think that might be the last slide. I want to double check. It is. However, let me go back to that one slide I said I was going to talk about earlier. All right, it's not letting me do what I wanted to do. There we go. So when you're trying to write about self-compassion or find things that can help you along the way of learning about self-compassion, here's some tips here. Is find things that are feeling good. A favorite stone, or like I have something called a fidget cube, and I don't know if I can show, but there's a little like kind of an oval right here, and it's meant specifically for me to like rub it, and that's one way of relaxing. So having like a certain feeling that helps me relax. Listening to a song that I really enjoy, singing a song that I really enjoy, calling a friend. Stop pushing ourselves to be perfect. And I know with today that can be really hard to do. It's okay to make, like there's no such thing as like perfect. We're all in the same boat of like, we all make mistakes, we all do things of that nature, and that's okay. It's okay to sit with that. And just find activities that make you happy, just bring you joy. Walking, biking, breathing. Breathing is a good one for me. And respond to your needs, respond to you. Like if you're hungry, I'm hungry. I want to have a granola bar or a piece of fruit or something. And don't ignore that. Like that's your body's way of saying, hey, I need something. Like I need you to acknowledge that. And that's another way that we show love and compassion, is by acknowledging those feelings. Being kind to yourself. Give ourselves a break. Eliminate that negative talk Remember, how you want to talk to a friend is how we should be able to talk to ourselves. Practice mindfulness, which is, as I said earlier, ways that we can maybe breathing exercises or just sitting still like a frog. Knowing that we're doing our best. And consider that we're not alone. We're all literally in this together. We're all doing this together. You know, and we do make mistakes, so it's okay to forgive ourselves for that. All right, let's see if it will let me do what I wanted it to do. It will not, so I gotta go. I'm going back to this picture because I think that would be a cool setting. All right, there we go. So, any questions or comments, feedback of any sort?
Hi, Sierra. I'll give other people a chance. I have a couple things, but let's see if anyone else has any questions.
So please feel free to use the chat to post a question if you have a question.
Oh,
yes.
Or a comment.
All right, let's see if I can get my chat up here. Chat. Oh, okay.
So, oh,
you're good.
Also, to remind everyone, this is being recorded, and the slides will be available to anyone interested at a later time. So we'll be happy to do that. If someone has a question, please unmute yourself or just put something in the chat box, and you know, if otherwise I'll go through with a couple of things that I came up with.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you suggest, okay, so this is, being that this is geared toward 4th, 5th, 6th grade, you know, give or take, our mindset then is so much more about emotions. I recall it's being so much more magnified, as it, you know, as it is like me now being an adult. It's still there, but I think it's harder to deal with when you're a kid without the proper tools. So I really appreciate you doing this for us, and I really appreciate you giving this information. And what I was looking at when I was reading your slides, I was like, yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's great. But say like when you when you're a kid and you have people saying negative things to you about you, I mean, that's really hits deep, and that's hard. And then, you know, you're expected to just turn to this and go, you know, I'm okay, it's all right. But you know, that's really hard for a young kid to believe, because I know that as a you know, that can often be so internalized, and you start to believe it after a while too. So I would love it if when my kid starts having these issues, that I have something like this that I can go to and refresh myself as a parent, and talk to her about these quick go-tos to get out of that mindset, to help you deal with it and work through it. I know that's a really tough one, is keeping your self-esteem up and keeping your positive thoughts about yourself when other kids are teasing you, because kids are cruel.
Yeah, and I actually have a good like feedback for that, if you
please do.
Yeah. So everything that's out in the world is information to us. It's information on how we become who we are. And so one of the things that I always tell people is that if someone's saying something to you, like I'm trying to think, like I'm trying to think back when I was 4th, 5th, and 6th grade. Like, oh, you suck. Or whatever the case is, you know.
Or, you know, you wear funny clothes, or, you know,
or
you know, you say stupid things, you know, whatever.
Yeah, that's information to be like, you can either internalize that, saying, oh, maybe they're right, or that can be information to actually help establish who we are, saying, no, that's not the case. No, because this is who I am type thing. And so that's one way that, and I know it's easier said than done. I definitely know that. But that's one way that we can look at these things, is that knowing that what they're saying is a complete 100% reflection on them. It has literally nothing to do with us. However, it's also providing us that information saying, like, well, you might think it's funny clothes. I like these clothes. You know, I like wearing this stuff. I think it's cool. And that helps really kind of establish who we are. You know, build that foundation a little bit more of ourselves. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Do you think doing a daily mantra in the morning, talking to yourself as a friend, would help to reinforce those positive thoughts to help combat those negative things that kids are bound to say?
Yeah, actually, that's a great idea. I should put that on there.
Well, I'm just reading your slides and I'm like, that looks good. How often, I thought, you know, because you talk about checking in with yourself and talking to yourself as a friend. And then I thought, well, how often could we do that? Should we do that?
Yeah.
So,
and
you know, maybe if we did it daily, it would have, you know,
that's a great idea. And that's practice too.
So when we come across things that are negative about us, we want to, and again, from a kid's perspective, we want to learn to appreciate the things that are positive about us and build on that. And we want to have self-compassion. But how does that conflict when you know you need to change something? When people, when there are things about you that you should push to change and improve, we'll say improve. How do you have self-compassion during a time like that? And when you compare it to that?
Let's see. In fact, I'm going to go.
What I'm asking. I'm sorry. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, it definitely does. In fact, I want to see if I can go back to another slide. Was it this one, I think? Let's see here. Like this exercise I tend to do a lot with people. However, I had to change it up a little bit because I kind of feel maybe the other one would have been way too complicated. And so this one specifically is actually, let me back up. When we know there's something that we would like to improve about ourselves, we can kind of view that as more of an opportunity instead of, oh, something wrong with me. Yeah. And a little self-disclosure, this was actually my example. Maybe that someone may have told me.
Keep it real.
So that's something I noticed about myself, and I'm like, well, maybe this is something I want to work on, and giving myself that acknowledgement of hey, maybe this is a thing. However, I'm noticing that that's my way of coping sometimes. That actually helps us move forward with stuff. So for example, if let's say we don't like the rain and it's raining outside. We're like, oh my gosh, it's raining. That can't be real. That can't be real. I'm going to go out there in shorts and flip-flops. And when I do that, I'm going to get wet. I'm going to get soaked. I'm going to get cold. But, the opposite is that when we acknowledge that, going, oh, it's raining outside. I don't like the rain. All right. It's happening. So I'm going to go put on rain boots, a coat, umbrella, because me acknowledging it helped something change, help us move forward. And so that's one way of doing it, is acknowledging, and the other one is just kind of looking at it as an opportunity to us to learn about ourselves or grow.
so that you can be your best.
Exactly.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that. So are there any like super quick go-tos that you might point at for times when a child is struggling with rejection or sadness?
Like, I would say a way, maybe like that mantra actually that you were talking about. I think that's a great idea. It's something that if we practice that in the morning, where like when that moment does come, is that it comes in quicker and we can feel it a little bit quicker. It could be the whole I'm good enough, I'm smart enough, you know, people like me type thing. It could be, you know, whatever the case is, or just say, hey, I know these are hard feelings right now. And these are eventually going to pass. These feelings are not here forever. They're going to go. It's just like a river. You know, the emotions are water. They'll eventually go by. Or they're like a bubble. You know, when you blow bubbles and you watch them go away, those bubbles can be like an emotion. You just watch it float away type thing.
Like that.
Yeah.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, where'd you get that fidget cube?
Amazon. Hold on, where is it? I just had it. This is my life right now.
That's okay.
Yeah, so it's Antsy Lab, I think it is, but you just put fidget cube, and I highly recommend this for a very specific reason. Hold on. This is gonna bug me. But I recommend it for a very specific reason, to get the name brand one. The name brand fidget cube, the Antsy Lab.
Okay.
The reason why I say that is because I went and bought the cheap version, the knockoff version, and it's very noisy.
Oh.
So if you're in a classroom, and I was doing my undergrad of maybe 100, 200 people, and it's like click, 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 click. That's not, it's not very good.
Okay, good advice. Well, actually, all of this was good advice and good lessons for us to think about daily. And I think it would be interesting to use this as a stepping off point to perhaps create a mantra for specific to each child, whatever works, and go to these tools to use when they need it, because emotions are really hard to deal with without the proper tools.
Yeah, and maybe one day, if you guys are up for it, I would love to come back to talk about like emotions and what emotions are actually here for, what they're trying to tell us.
I think that'd be very helpful.
I already have a slide presentation for it, because I actually love that topic so much.
You know, we're gonna have to take you up on that.
Yeah, I'm definitely for it.
Does anybody else have any questions? We have a quiet crowd tonight. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, I was just going to say I'm not seeing anything new in the chat. So if people have questions, if you can drop them in the chat, that would be helpful.
Found it. It was literally sitting next to me.
That's why you didn't see it.
Yeah, but so you have a whole bunch of different things on here, and a little joystick. But you see, it's not as loud when I'm playing with it.
I see that. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it has a little beaker for their symbol. So.
Oh, I'm sorry. Please, what was the name of that again?
I think it's Antsy Lab, and it has a little science beaker for a symbol.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, Tracy, you want to take it away?
Well, I just want to join Lisa, Sarah, in thanking you again for coming and giving us a wonderful information-filled presentation. And we look forward to getting the slides from you and making those available. Thank you, everybody who joined us tonight. We will have one more partnership with Kaiser that will get information out to everybody. But while I've got your attention, next Thursday, the 11th, is going to be a general membership meeting of the PTA. So for all of you, we encourage you to come back. We are going to hear from our interim principal. So you'll have a chance to talk about what's going on at the school. We're also going to hear from our local school board member, Lisa Morawski, who's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on at the district in terms of district finances and the plan for reopening. So we encourage everybody to join us. Information on that was also in our recent Sutterville email newsletter. So thank you everybody for joining us tonight. Thank you, Sierra. Thank you again, Lisa, for bringing this partnership to us. And thank you everybody for joining us.
Thank
you
you,
all so
Sierra.
much. Thank you.
I will have to have you back.
Absolutely. I would love to come back.
Thank you.
All right.
Bye.
Everyone have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.